He is known as one of the strongest superheroes in the DC universe. Those who dare to challenge him can hardly last 3 seconds. He is even officially recognized as an anti-hero, with godlike powers. Unlike traditional saintly heroes, as a deity, he shows a thunderous wrath while protecting the world, and ruthlessly eradicates the filth of the world. His style is both righteous and wicked, with unpredictable moods. What experiences shaped this fearsome god of death? 5,000 years ago, in Kondak, a slave unearthed a priceless ruby underground. He devotedly presented the gem to his master. However, what greeted him was a cold and sharp dagger. The young Heorot happened to witness this brutal scene. Long oppressed, Heorot's anger was ignited by this sight. He no longer remained silent, and fought with all his might to seize the gem. It was as if he wanted to pass this symbol of freedom to every suffering slave. But his actions infuriated King Aktun, the tyrant of Kondak. The tyrant immediately ordered Heorot to be sent to the guillotine. In his final moments, Heorot resolutely raised his hands with a determined gaze. He hoped to awaken the courage of others with his death. Just as the executioner raised his blade, something strange happened. Heorot suddenly vanished without a trace. A mysterious force had transported him into a deep cave. The Wizarding Society, which had silently protected the earth, was moved by Heorot's resilience. To end Kondak's dark rule, the Wizarding Society decided to bestow upon Heorot the powers of the Egyptian gods. As the ancient incantation was recited, lightning began to swirl around him. In the next moment, he possessed immense power. However, fate can be cruel. Even with supreme power, Heorot couldn't escape the fate of a slave. He led the rebellion to victory on the battlefield, forcing the tyrant to retreat. However, Aktun unleashed a bloody massacre on his family. By the time Heorot returned home, it was too late. Seeing his father Adam on the brink of death, the kind-hearted Heorot made a selfless decision. With a flash of lightning, he infused a divine power into his father's body. A miracle occurred. Adam's wounds healed rapidly, and he received the blessings of the 6 Egyptian gods. But Heorot lost the protection of the Wizarding Society as a result. He was ultimately ruthlessly killed by assassins sent by Aktun. Witnessing his son's tragic death, Adam's long-suppressed anger ignited in an instant. The divine power within him gradually darkened, under the influence of hatred. Thus, the superhero Black Adam, born of vengeance, was created. On the other side, the obsessed Aktun hadn't given up on his ambition to rule the world. He ordered artisans to forge the crown of Havoc from the eternal gold mined by slaves, attempting to gain the power of ancient demonic gods through a mysterious ritual. Once the ritual was complete, he would acquire this powerful force and thus rule the world. However, just as a servant was about to present the crown, a bolt of lightning struck down. The servant was instantly turned to ashes. Aktun's dreams were completely shattered in the fury of Black Adam. Even though Aktun had given up everything at this moment, it couldn't quell the anger within Adam's heart. Worse still, Adam couldn't control the immense power that overflowed from his rage. Everywhere he went turned to ruins. Civilization gradually declined under the ravages of this power. The Wizarding Society believed that Adam had been blinded by hatred, and didn't deserve the power of the gods, so they decided to make him pay the price. The wizards of the society united to challenge Black Adam. The battle was exceptionally fierce, lasting 3 months. 6 of the 7 wizards fell to Black Adam's might. In a critical moment, the last remaining gray-robed wizard exhausted his life force, and sealed Black Adam deep underground. The crown of Havoc also disappeared, hidden away. In the river of history, it was thought that the world had returned to peace, but 5,000 years later, this dark power was awakened once more. An expedition team found a mysterious tomb based on ancient records. Through the inscriptions on the tomb, they determined that the one buried here was indeed Adam, sealed away 5,000 years ago. Ahead, the crown of Havoc floated in the air. The team had just obtained the crown and was preparing to leave. Suddenly, an armed unit appeared. They took Dr. Anna's brother hostage, forcing her to hand over the crown. Reluctantly, Anna had no choice but to comply. The mercenaries pretended to allow Anna to say her goodbyes. Seizing the opportunity, Anna quickly recited the incantation from the stone tablet. In an instant, lightning struck down and Adam emerged. One mercenary stepped forward to investigate, but Adam grabbed him by the throat. He was instantly reduced to ashes by electricity. The other mercenaries panicked and raised their guns to shoot, but to Adam, these weapons posed no threat at all. The mercenaries were easily crushed like ants. Adam's power was beyond imagination. Bullets striking him only sparked harmlessly. He ascended and launched a counterattack, his speed surpassing that of sound. The mercenaries he caught were either dead or severely injured. The worst off were those who were electrocuted and melted away. Perhaps because a trace of goodness remained in his heart, Adam saved Anna, who had freed him. But the other mercenaries weren't so fortunate. Within seconds, the armed unit was completely annihilated. The box containing the crown of Havoc also fell to the ground. Anna hurriedly picked up the crown and fled with her brother. As a bolt of lightning exploded, the tomb was destroyed. Adam also arrived in this unfamiliar world after 5,000 years, but as the two got into the car, they realized reinforcements for the mercenaries had arrived, completely surrounding Adam. They clearly hadn't yet realized the terror of Adam. After all, he harnessed the powers of ancient gods. However, when the smoke cleared, the driver realized that the bombs couldn't harm Adam at all, but they had completely provoked Adam. He exerted a slight force, and 2 helicopters were instantly reduced to scrap, like crushed toys. At the same time, the ground troops launched a fierce assault, but in Adam's eyes, their fierce firepower seemed to be in slow motion. He raised his hand lightly, and a chain of lightning quickly spread out. The soldiers struck by the lightning were instantly enveloped in electricity and burned. Strangely, they felt no pain at all. Facing the grenades thrown by the soldiers, Adam's lips curled slightly. He politely tossed the grenades back. As for the heavy weaponry around him, he merely glanced around. Then, with a light touch, he effortlessly changed the direction of the missiles. When the smoke cleared and everything returned to calm, the reinforcements had been completely annihilated, reduced to rubble. Adam stopped Anna, who was trying to escape. She watched as Adam approached step by step, her heart filled with fear, and she could only quietly roll up the car window. At this tense moment, a lucky surviving mercenary quickly loaded a shell and fired it at Adam. Adam remained completely unfazed. The moment he caught the missile, he sensed something was off. The missile in his hand was made of eternal metal, not an ordinary weapon. When all the smoke cleared, he discovered that his invulnerable body had been injured by an explosion. He ruthlessly eliminated the mercenary, then shot into the sky, ready to leave the area. However, due to his severe injuries, he fell back down shortly after taking flight. When Adam slowly regained consciousness, he realized he was in Anna's home. Though 5,000 years had passed, Kondak had changed dramatically, yet they had never attained true freedom. At this moment, Anna's son Aman suddenly appeared. With a serious expression, he told Adam about the current state of Kondak, which seemed prosperous but was actually fraught with danger. Kondak today, like 1,000 years ago, desperately needed a savior to arrive, because it was controlled by an evil organization known as the Inter Gang. They would stop at nothing to find the crown of Kondak, left behind by the tyrant Aktun. This crown was made of a large amount of eternal metal. Legend had it that the one who possessed it could summon the hellish emissary Havoc, gain immense power and ascend to the throne of Kondak. The fierce battle that had previously occurred in the tomb was rooted in this mysterious crown. However, at this moment, Adam seemed uninterested in all of this. He even declared that he would solve the problem in a straightforward and brutal manner. At this moment, Adam's attention was drawn to a statue that closely resembled him. It turned out to be a statue built 5,000 years ago in his honor, named the Defender. Seeing the statue before him, Aman excitedly raised his hands, forming their nation's unique totem. But at this moment, the unexpected happened. The mercenaries from the Inter Gang spotted Aman. Even Anna was kidnapped by them. Fortunately, Kondak now had a hero. A group of arrogant mercenaries didn't believe this at all. One of them raised a stick and swung it at Adam. However, in the next second, he was punched away by Adam. The other mercenaries then realized things were far beyond their imagination. They all raised their guns and fired wildly, but the bullets hitting Adam felt like mosquito bites, and couldn't even penetrate his clothing. Even if the entire Special Forces team came out, they would be no match for Adam's lightning powers. The sniper in the distance hadn't reacted yet, when a mysterious force lifted him to an altitude of 10,000 meters. Just as Adam was about to take out the 2 mercenaries, a high-tech spaceship suddenly appeared. The visitors were the Justice Society, known for maintaining peace on Earth. Hawkman saved the 2 mercenaries, but he soon realized that the guilty couldn't escape divine judgment. Though Adam had only killed evildoers, in the eyes of the Justice Society, it was still a criminal act. They demanded that Adam return to his mortal form and accept Justice's judgment to maintain world peace. Neither side was willing to back down. A showdown of superpowers was about to erupt. As the battle officially began, everyone realized the vast power gap between Adam and the Justice Society. Hawkman's fully charged strike was easily deflected by Adam. Then Adam unleashed his lightning power, sending Hawkman flying several dozen meters. The ensuing current nearly cost Hawkman his life. Clearly, in a one-on-one fight, Hawkman was no match for Adam. Even though he was also a metahuman, he gained no advantage in their exchanges. After a tough struggle, they finally brought Adam down from the sky, only to realize they could inflict no substantial damage on him. Seeing that Hawkman struggled to subdue Adam, their teammate Cyclone quickly entered the fray. Though Cyclone was female, she could whip up a gale force wind. In an instant, surrounding materials were blown into the sky. Then, like hidden weapons, they were hurled at Adam. But this chaotic attack endangered Anna by accident. Not only did it fail to harm Adam, but it also nearly harmed the innocent. Fortunately, Dr. Fate acted quickly, using a rapid teleportation to save Anna and her son. When he touched a nearby backpack, he unexpectedly sensed the crown of Havoc. It turned out that with the helmet of fate, he could foresee the future. Just moments ago, he had seen an astonishing prophecy, but the battle wasn't yet over. He had to set aside the crown and immerse himself in the fight. Dr. Fate then unleashed a holy light judgment, suppressing Adam. He also summoned countless shadow duplicates, which were endless, and would instantly regenerate after being shattered. Even the mighty Adam was beginning to feel annoyed. However, Adam wasn't completely bound. As the Justice Society launched a combined attack, Adam's anger was gradually ignited. As the energy within him surged, a blast instantly sent the three flying hundreds of meters away. The massive cloud of dust, however, pointed the way for the Atom Smasher, who suffered from spatial disorientation. The Atom Smasher lived up to his name, able to change his size at will. In an instant, he grew to the height of 6 stories. With that height, he swung a heavy fist down at Adam. Everyone thought the battle was about to end. Unexpectedly, a surge of lightning erupted from the ground. Even the giant Atom Smasher couldn't suppress Adam's divine power. Surprisingly, the people of Kondak, upon seeing Adam, not only felt no fear but cheered. He was their superhero, with no other choice. The Justice Society could only watch helplessly as Adam left. Dr. Fate's prophecies were always accurate. At this moment, there was something crucial that needed investigating. The crown of Havoc must not be allowed to fall into the wrong hands. However, Anna had no fondness for the so-called Justice Society. She instructed Amon to take the crown home first, but she didn't anticipate that her oversight would put Amon in danger. Anna suddenly received a distress call from her son. It turned out that mercenaries had tracked them down by following the crown's trail. Upon her desperate pleas, Adam immediately rushed back to rescue them. By the time they arrived, the members of the Inter gang had long escaped on modified motorcycles. Adam wasn't slow, but those motorcycles were incredibly powerful. They could not only fly through the air, but also perform short-range spatial jumps. Even so, Adam continued to pursue them relentlessly. However, faced with so many flying motorcycles, he couldn't discern which one carried him on. The situation was becoming increasingly dire. The Justice Society also joined the rescue operation, but there were many internal conflicts among them. Adam was solely focused on resolving the crisis, completely disregarding the lives of mortals. Once he caught up with the enemy, he attacked without mercy. He chased fiercely, capturing the last motorcycle and even pursuing it to a distant country. Yet Amon was still nowhere to be seen. It turned out that these motorcycles were all decoys. The real Amon had already been secretly smuggled out of the country. The rider attempted to slip away but was thrown away by Adam. The trail was thus cut off. Amon's whereabouts became a mystery. Fortunately, Hawkman wasn't as impulsive as Adam. He captured 2 prisoners, preparing to interrogate them. He thought Anna's violent interrogation was too bloody, and Adam intervened to stop it. Unexpectedly, he just thought Anna's methods were too gentle. In the blink of an eye, Adam flew the prisoners to an altitude of 10,000 meters. Under the immense pressure, the prisoners hurriedly confessed, but in the end, they couldn't escape the fate of being thrown from the heights. Hawkman was extremely dissatisfied with this, but could do nothing about it. As a superhero, Hawkman couldn't tolerate Adam's behavior. However, when the two clashed, it was the entire Justice League that suffered. In the chaos, Adam punched a cabinet, and unexpectedly discovered the crown of Havoc hidden inside. Perhaps this crown was the key to saving Amon. Everyone followed the clues to a mine on the edge of the desert. A large number of guards were deployed here, but for Adam, this was merely a piece of cake. In just 2 minutes, he broke through the outer defenses, but soon after, he found himself in big trouble. The shield made of 99.99% pure eternal metal left even the mighty Adam at a loss. Just as the enemy aimed their guns at Amon's forehead, Anna hurriedly took out the crown she had been carrying. The leader, Sol, finally obtained the coveted item he had dreamed of, but he had no intention of keeping his promise. Even more unbelievable was that he was the last descendant of the dark tyrant Octun, and was also the only person in the world who could wield the crown. The true history had been passed down through their family for generations. It was from him that they learned the truth about Adam's wife and children being brutally killed. Fortunately, completing the ritual required deactivating the energy shield, which gave Adam a chance to act. However, a bullet was still fired towards Amon. At the critical moment, Adam saved Amon with his incredible speed, but this completely ignited his fury. The lightning within him surged out, attacking everyone present indiscriminately. The Justice Society saved everyone at a crucial moment. The uncontrolled power was accompanied by a powerful explosion. The entire base instantly turned into a ruin. Although Sol was ultimately burned to a crisp, they didn't know that he had completed the ritual. At the last moment, a catastrophe for humanity was about to unfold. Fearing Adam's power, Hawkman sought out Adam again. At this moment, Adam revealed the truth from that year. It turned out that it wasn't Adam who was bestowed with divine power, but his son Hurrit. Hurrit did indeed save many slaves, but his family was subsequently killed. To save his dying father, Hurrit taught Adam the incantation to gain power. However, Adam had just transformed for a short time. When Hurrit was killed by Octun's minions, in his rage, the father completely darkened, giving birth to Black Adam, leading to the subsequent catastrophic explosion. The wizards chose to seal him away, but now Adam had completely let go. He understood that what Kondak needed wasn't himself, but that kind-hearted child. Then Adam uttered the keyword Shazam in front of Hawkman. He willingly relinquished the power of Shazam. After the crisis was averted, the Justice Society quickly took Adam back to headquarters. They placed him in a state of suspended animation, locking him in a specially designed cage. Along with other uncontrollable superpowered criminals, he would remain in slumber there. To prevent himself from regaining his powers, he willingly confined himself in an underwater special cage, because as long as he couldn't speak, he could never summon the power of Shazam. Yet even so, Dr. Fate's apocalyptic prophecy didn't vanish. Meanwhile, Anna suddenly recalled that in Kondak's mythology, hell and the mortal realm mirrored each other. To decipher the riddle on the crown, all one needed to do was to flip the crown.
Is the only path to life.
It became clear that Soul had anticipated that Adam would kill him all along. This way, he could use the power of the crown to descend into hell and make a deal with the demon lord. Thus, he would gain the power to destroy the world. As the powers of the 6 great demons flowed into him, the crown of Sabak seemed to awaken ancient evils. With the crown's disappearance, Soul finally transformed into a demon. Sabak returned to Kondak with the ambition to rule the world and turn the mortal realm into a hell. Empowered by the evil of the demon lord, Sabak became terrifyingly powerful and extremely brutal. The Justice Society immediately sensed the disturbance. They quickly piloted their aircraft to intercept. Bullets rained down like a storm, but the reborn Sabak was like an invincible god of war. He showed no fear of the attacks and tore apart the aircraft's shell with his bare hands. In the blink of an eye, the aircraft was reduced to rubble. In a critical moment, Hawkman skillfully maneuvered the aircraft for an emergency landing. The others were able to save their lives, but before they could prepare for battle, Sabak unleashed hellfire, roaring towards them. Dr. Fate immediately released a golden shield, temporarily blocking the deadly attack. Cyclone quickly assisted the Doctor in redirecting the flames. The members of the Justice Society coordinated to engage in a wheel battle. Sabak was surprisingly pushed back repeatedly, but soon everyone realized that Sabak was almost immune to physical attacks. After Hawkman struck him with a giant axe, the wound healed instantly in the hellfire. It seemed that only magical powers of the same lineage could possibly contend with him. At this moment, Sabak had entered the palace, taking slow steps toward the throne. Dr. Fate could only gamble everything. He immediately cast a golden shield to block his teammates' path, preparing to face the powerful Sabak alone. He had long foreseen the inevitable outcome of destruction. In millions of simulations, there was only one hope for victory, and that was to sacrifice himself to awaken the sleeping Adam. Despite Hawkman's desperate pleas, Dr. Fate resolutely soared into the sky. He had already devised a plan for dealing with Sabak. He used magic to control Sabak's movements, then summoned duplicates to fight. This time, however, the scale would be much larger. Their numbers exceeded 1,000. While it seemed like a war of attrition, he had his own intentions. In the next moment, the Doctor used his mental powers to appear before Adam. He then cast a spell remotely to release Adam from his confinement. He hoped Adam would fight for his son. Although Adam broke the seal, he was now just a mortal, unable to speak. He couldn't summon the power of Shazam. He was easily subdued by the ordinary guards. The Doctor quickly rushed to Sabak and fought to buy time for Adam to escape the guards. Unfortunately, his dazzling techniques seemed insignificant before absolute power. Even when the Doctor exerted all his strength, he still couldn't stop Sabak's ambition to rule the world. As his strongest strike was easily countered, Dr. Fate fell to the ground. Hawkman immediately led the team toward the palace, but unfortunately, it was already too late. With his helmet removed, Dr. Fate no longer wielded the powerful laws of order. In an instant, he was crushed by a punch from Sabak and vanished. Sabak disdainfully kicked away the helmet. He then slowly sat on the throne. To complete the final coronation ceremony, a pillar of flame shot into the sky, shattering the gateway between the mortal realm and hell, clearing the way for millions of demon soldiers to descend. At this critical moment, Aman appeared. He shouted, "To awaken the people of Kondak, to defend freedom against evil." Adam seemed to sense this power, and instantly recited the incantation, transforming into a bolt of lightning that shot into the sky. In an instant, he unleashed tremendous power, quickly overturned the guards and escaped from the underwater prison. He reached Kondak just in time to prevent Aman from being crushed by a statue. The Atom Smasher rushed forward to hold the statue, allowing Adam to defeat the Demon Lord. At this moment, Hawkman was locked in a fierce battle with Havoc. Just as Hawkman was about to have his wings torn off, an angry lightning fist roared in. It instantly knocked Havoc back several meters. A feud that had lasted 5,000 years was finally about to reach its conclusion today. At this moment, Havoc had power enough to match Adam head-on. The deadly red lightning left marks on Adam's steel body. After several exchanges, Adam felt a sense of crisis. Havoc's attacks could easily pierce his body, and his own strength was gradually fading. Just as Havoc was about to deliver a fatal blow to Adam, he was suddenly ambushed from behind by Hawkman, and nearly lost his life on the spot. He immediately pulled out a steel pipe and thrust it at his opponent, but he realized that he had only killed an illusion. It turned out that Hawkman had used Dr. Fate's helmet to cast a duplication spell. Numerous Hawkmen surged forward, pinning Havoc to the throne. Adam took the opportunity to grab Havoc's demon horns and gather his strength. As his power reached its peak, Havoc was torn in half. The hellish army also dissipated. The war for freedom in Kondak was victorious once more. Hearing the people of Kondak chant "Long live the Defender," Anna suggested that Adam take the throne, but he leaped up and shattered the throne. Adam believed that the people of Kondak didn't need a deity to lead them. Civilization and freedom were the keys to prosperity. However, humanity feared that a being with Adam's powers might go out of control. They began to seek a balancing force to suppress him. The film concludes here. This film is a deep exploration of the superhero genre. It showcases the complexity of Black Adam through delicate techniques, and explores the relationship between justice and revenge. Black Adam realizes that his actions and revenge could lead to disaster, ultimately choosing redemption. The viewing experience is quite enjoyable. It's a pure popcorn flick. The film lacks DC's usual preachiness and reflection. Instead, it delivers visual bombardment and sensory stimulation directly. It's incredibly satisfying to watch. This film is worth watching. Friends who are interested can check out the original film, Black Adam. If you enjoy my channel, please like and subscribe it.